Ever get the feeling that like everyday language is hiding secret stories? Well, buckle up, because in this deep dive, we're going to uncover the surprising origins of some of your favorite English idioms.
Okay.
You know, those sayings that color our conversations, like spill the beans.
What's fascinating is that these phrases aren't just quirks of language,
Right.
They're like little time capsules offering glimpses into history and culture.
Ooh, I like that. Time capsules.
And even human psychology.
All right, so let's crack open a few of these time capsules.
Yeah.
And what better place to start than with a phrase you might use at, say, a painfully awkward networking event?
Oh, I've been there.
What's the real story behind breaking the ice?
So imagine you're a ship captain, like centuries ago.
Okay.
It's the dead of winter, your route is frozen solid, and the only way forward is to literally, smash through the ice.
Oh, wow.
That act of carving a path through a frozen barrier, that's the original breaking the ice.
Wow, so every time I try to strike up a conversation with a stranger, I'm basically a fearless icebreaker captain battling the Arctic?
You got it.
I like that. That's a much cooler way to think about small talk. But how did we go from ships to social situations?
Well, it's a fascinating example of how physical actions can morph into metaphors for social dynamics that need to create a pathway, overcome an obstacle. It applies whether you're sailing a ship or navigating a room full of strangers.
Okay, this next one always makes me cringe a bit.
Oh.
And I have a feeling I know why. Bite the bullet.
Okay.
Tell me, is it as gruesome as it sounds?
You have no idea.
Well.
Before the days of anesthesia, battlefield surgeons had to get creative with pain management.
Yeah, I bet.
And often that meant giving their patients something to bite down on during these agonizing procedures.
Oh, gosh.
A piece of leather, a stick, or, yes, even a bullet.
Ouch. Talk about a tough situation. It makes you realize just how much we take modern medicine for granted. But how did something so brutal become a saying for facing difficult situations?
I think it speaks to that incredible human capacity for resilience.
Yeah.
For pushing through pain and adversity. Whether you are a soldier enduring a battlefield surgery or you're facing a tough conversation today, it's about summoning that inner strength, that grit to get through something unpleasant.
Makes you think about the expression grin and bear it in a whole new light.
Totally.
Speaking of secrets, what about letting the cat out of the bag?
Okay.
Is this one as straightforward as it seems, or is there a sneaky feline backstory?
Oh, there's definitely a cat.
Okay.
And there's some trickery involved. Imagine yourself in a bustling medieval marketplace.
I'm there.
You're bartering for a piglet, a valuable livestock animal.
Right.
But some unscrupulous sellers would try to pull a fast one, swapping the pig for a less valuable cat hidden in a bag.
Oh. So letting the cat out of the bag exposed their deception. Poor kitty. But it does paint a rather vivid picture. And now it means accidentally revealing a secret, like spoiling a surprise party.
Precisely.
Right.
It highlights our fascination with secrets, the power they hold, and the consequences when they're unexpectedly revealed.
Yeah. And it makes you wonder what other secrets are lurking in plain sight, just waiting to be uncovered.
So true.
Okay, this next one hits close to home, especially after a recent trip to the electronics store. Cost an arm and a leg.
Oof, I feel that.
Please tell me this wasn't literal.
Okay.
Did people actually barter with body parts?
Not quite, thankfully. But it does tie back to the idea of value and status.
Okay.
So back in the day, having your portrait painted was a major status symbol.
It was.
Oh, yeah. But some artists charged a premium if they had to include the subject's limbs. Apparently, showcasing those fancy sleeves was a costly affair.
Wait, really? So vanity was literally priced by the body part back then. I guess some things never change. But why did limbs become the go-to for expressing outrageous expense?
It's a powerful image, isn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to that human tendency to place a high value on certain things, even if that value seems irrational. And reminds us that what we consider expensive is often relative.
Yeah.
It's shaped by cultural norms and personal desires.
It certainly makes you rethink those impulse purchases, doesn't it?
For sure.
Okay, time for a weather report. What about raining cats and dogs?
All right.
Did people ever actually see animals falling from the sky?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
Though the mental image is certainly memorable. This saying takes us back to 17th century England. So picture cobblestone streets, torrential downpours, and inadequate drainage systems.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, during these heavy rains, the streets would overflow, sometimes washing animals out of their shelters or off rooftops.
So it just looked like it was raining animals?
Exactly.
It's kind of gross, but I can see how that image would stick with people.
It's a testament to the power of language to capture these visceral experiences, these almost surreal moments in time.
Yeah.
And it shows how even something as chaotic as a downpour can be immortalized in a simple phrase.
All right, let's switch gears for a moment with one that sounds pretty straightforward. The ball is in your court.
Okay.
Did this one actually come from the tennis court?
It did.
Really?
And it's one of the more literal idioms we use. Just like in a tennis match, the responsibility to act shifts depending on where the ball lands.
So when we say the ball is in your court, we're essentially acknowledging a shift in responsibility, like I've done my part.
Exactly.
Now it's up to you to make a decision or take action. It's all about clear communication and knowing when it's your turn to step up.
Exactly. And just like in tennis, there's a certain strategy involved, knowing when to serve, when to return, and when to wait patiently for the next move.
Okay, I'm dying to know about spill the beans. This one has always made me picture someone literally spilling a bowl of beans to reveal a secret. Was that actually a thing?
Believe it or not, yes.
No way.
The ancient Greeks used beans for voting, white beans for yes, black beans for no. So if someone accidentally or intentionally knocked over the voting container.
Well, there goes the element of surprise. The beans were spilled and everyone knew the outcome. Talk about a voting security breach. But how did this very specific bean-related incident become a general term for revealing secrets?
Well, I think it speaks to that universal human struggle with keeping secrets and managing sensitive information. And it reminds us that even the most carefully guarded information can be unexpectedly revealed, sometimes with dramatic consequences.
You know, it's amazing how these seemingly simple phrases are like packed with so much history.
Right.
It's like each idiom is a little window into a different time and place.
It really is. And the more you explore these origins, the more you realize just how interconnected language and culture truly are.
Okay, I'm ready for more. What about steal someone's thunder? That one always makes me think of dramatic pronouncements and maybe a little bit of mischief.
Well, it is a bit theatrical. This idiom takes us back to the 18th century London theater scene.
Oh, wow.
A playwright named John Dennis invented a new sound effect for his plays. A thunder machine, if you will.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, his play was a flop.
Oh, no. That's rough. Did someone literally steal his thunder machine?
Not quite, but something even worse. A rival playwright copied Dennis's thunder machine for his own production, which became a smashing success.
Oh, no.
Dennis was furious, accusing his competitor of stealing his thunder, you know, both figuratively and literally.
So it started as a very specific complaint about a stolen sound effect,
Yeah.
but evolved into a broader idea of taking credit for someone else's idea or achievement.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that even in the world of creativity and innovation, there are ethical considerations.
Right.
Giving credit where credit is due is important, whether it's a groundbreaking invention or a simple idea shared among colleagues.
Makes you think twice about borrowing ideas, doesn't it? Okay, this next one brings to mind a boxing match. Throw in the towel. It seems pretty self-explanatory, but I bet there's more to it.
You're right. This one is connected to a very specific physical action.
Okay.
Imagine a boxing match where one fighter is clearly outmatched their cornerman. Seeing the potential for serious injury, throws a towel into the ring to signal defeat and stop the fight.
So it's that moment of surrender, of admitting defeat, when it's clear that continuing the fight is futile or even dangerous. It's about knowing when to step back and reassess.
Precisely. And while it might seem like a sign of weakness, throwing in the towel can actually be an act of strength and wisdom. It takes courage to recognize when a battle is lost and to choose a different path.
That's a really interesting perspective. Sometimes knowing when to quit is just as important as knowing when to persevere. Speaking of knowing when to call it quits, what about hit the sack? Does this one really have to do with sacks?
It does. Though not the kind you might imagine before the days of comfy mattresses and feather pillows, beds were much simpler affairs.
Oh.
People often slept on mattresses stuffed with straw or hay.
So hitting the sack was quite literal. You were plopping down onto a bag of hay for the night. That makes so much sense. And it's kind of funny to think that a phrase that originated from such humble beginnings is still so widely used today.
It shows how language evolves alongside technology and culture. We may not sleep on hay anymore, but the need for rest for that moment of surrender at the end of the day is universal.
Right.
And hit the sack, perfectly captures that feeling.
I'm loving how these idioms give us these little glimpses into the past. It's like time traveling through language. Okay, I have a feeling this next one is going to be a fun one. Under the weather. Did people used to literally hide from storms under the clouds?
Not quite. This one comes from the world of sailing. When sailors got seasick, they would often go below deck to escape the rough seas and the fresh air.
Wow.
So they were literally under the weather, seeking refuge from the elements.
Wow, that's so clever. It never occurred to me that weather, in this context, referred to the actual weather conditions at sea. And now it's a common way to say you're feeling a bit ill or just not your best.
It's a great example of how a phrase born from a specific context can become a metaphor for a broader human experience.
Right.
We may not be battling storms at sea, but we all have times when we feel a bit off or under the weather in a more general sense.
All right. This last one for this part makes me think of those late night study sessions fueled by coffee and determination. Burn the midnight oil. Did people actually burn oil to stay up late?
They did. Before the advent of electricity, oil lamps were the primary source of light after sunset. So if you were working or studying late into the night, you were literally burning oil to illuminate your workspace.
That's fascinating. It's amazing how a phrase that originated from such a practical necessity has become a metaphor for dedication and hard work. It makes you appreciate how much technology has changed our lives.
It does.
Yeah.
But it also highlights that certain human experiences transcend time and technology, that drive to accomplish something, to push through challenges. Whether you're burning the midnight oil by lamplight or laptop screen, it's a testament to human ambition and resilience.
It's incredible how these idioms we use every day are like these secret messages from the past.
That's all right.
Who knew that like such simple phrases could unlock so much history and culture?
It's a testament to the power of language, you know?
Yeah.
These sayings may have originated centuries ago, but they still resonate with us today because they tap into these universal human experiences. The need to connect, to overcome challenges, to, make sense of the world around us.
It's like each idiom is a little puzzle piece. And once you understand where it came from, it fits perfectly into this larger picture of human history and the evolution of language.
That's a great way to put it. And what's so fascinating is that this puzzle is constantly expanding.
Right.
New idioms are being created all the time, reflecting the changing world we live in. Who knows what sayings will be puzzling future generations?
That's a really interesting thought. It makes you wonder what our everyday phrases will reveal about us to people centuries from now. But for now, I feel like we've only scratched the surface of the idioms we use.
Yeah.
There are so many more out there, each with its own unique story waiting to be uncovered.
There are indeed, and that's the beauty of it. You can keep exploring, keep digging deeper into the language you use every day. You might be surprised by what you find.
So to all you listeners out there, we challenge you to start paying closer attention to the idioms you use. Don't just take them at face value.
Yeah.
Do a little research, ask questions, and see what hidden treasures you can unearth.
And remember, language is a living thing. It's constantly evolving, adapting to new technologies and cultural shifts. So keep your ears open for new sayings, new ways of expressing ourselves.
Right.
Who knows, you might even coin the next spill the beans or bite the bullet.
That's a great point. Well, we've had a fantastic time exploring the origins of these quirky and fascinating idioms. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive as much as we have, and that you've come away with a newfound appreciation for the power and depth of everyday language. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those tongues twisting.